Yes, as I'm the only one who's excited that the show has started, let me show you my excited face. It's called Cyrus Says, and we've got two startling young guests who are going to raise our level for sure. Before we do that, I just want to quickly mention criticism I'm getting because gyms have started again and I have to meet people, etc., etc. People are commenting about my torn t-shirts. Now, I don't know which, this side or both sides are torn, right? That one, I'm dyslexic with left, right, so I'll just keep pointing like a young Daler Mendi in the old days. Yeah, and I just want to say it's completely deliberate. I know it's a torn t-shirt, so stop pointing it out to me. For me, torn t-shirts is actual style in the sense that we live in this hot country. I know there's monsoon going on, so from time to time it's less hot, but this helps me ventilate. I keep all my shirts with holes in them so that I ventilate well. I don't see the problem. To me, it gives me the same basis as what a bra or a vest or an underwear gives. It gives that kind of support that you need. So it's always with me utilitarian. I wish I could say the word without that kind of fumble. But so don't criticize me about the torn shirts. And if you don't want to do it, that's your problem. But if you want to do it, please remember, it is I, the pioneer of the torn shirt, who taught you how. Now, let's introduce our lovely guests, Nisha and Ragavi, who've got a brand new IVM podcast worth millions of dollars as we speak. And it's called Misconduct. That's right. A clever play on the word misconduct. Because MISS, and conduct. That's the level of, my intellectual contribution to any show. Hi, Ragavi, and hi, Nisha. One of you is in Chennai, one of you is in Bangalore. Let me quickly introduce you properly for the people who may not have heard your show yet. Ragavi is a Bangalore-based lawyer. As in, what are you specializing in?
Well, right now it's privacy laws mostly. But this podcast is criminal law. I'm sorry.
When that poor Raj Kundra is under pressure about some pornographic stuff in Mud Island and all, I mean, privacy is the most important thing. I'll come back to you on that.
I absolutely understand. I know. Yeah, I'm a huge disappointment. My father will agree.
Really?
Oh, no, of course not.
In my family, it's the other way around. The kids look at me as a disappointment. It's nice to see it works both ways. You're well versed in legal research. I hate to do this because you start talking to the person like they don't know about themselves. So you're well versed in legal research in case you woke up from a coma, or, that kind of thing.
It's a good reminder. Thank you.
I think so. It also embarrasses some guests. Now, you guys have not gone for the very big sort of bio things where they write all the great super achievements. Those are really embarrassing. You're actually pretty straightforward. But I must say, I've had a few guests on, and then they have things like, I won the prize in 6th standard for high jump or something. Unnecessary information that has been put there. And all the way down to Harvard, where I came second in business school or whatever. So if you say everything, they cringe because there's nobody alive who's that vain. It's lovely. Yeah, I wish you'd send me more.
But I think in one of the first descriptions that we had written down, Ragavi had mentioned that she was class monitor in grade 7 or something like that.
What an ego!
I remember.
Listen, I made prefect over somebody else who really wanted to make prefect. And I was really proud of it at the time. We're friends now, so it's different. I genuinely appreciate her.
But was the prefect thing, was it the democratic thing? Was it a vote thing? Or was it a teacher thing?
It was entirely based on how much you kissed us, entirely. So I was particularly good at that. I will have
Which is the most noble way of all. Yeah.
I agree.
My respect for you has gone up already. I thought people voted you in. So you were popularly known as the... Yeah. No. Which would also mean that they have no respect for you because you normally have a puppet prefect. That's how it works. That's generally,
true.
Right?
No. I was the authoritarian kind. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, you were Ragavi the bully.
No, I mean, yes. But if you have power, it's not really.
I want to say dictator.
That's.
I want to say yes. When she mentioned I'm an authoritarian figure and then denies being a bully, I couldn't understand why the dichotomy happened. Because we live in a country where... I will not complete my sentence. I cannot complete my sentence.
Yeah, we just launched. I don't want to get arrested today.
Exactly. I do not have enough money for a lawyer.
One of you is safe in Chennai, but I think Bangalore, you better be a little careful from what I gather. Yeah. You always got to check who's in charge. It's all about that.
Yeah, zipping now.
Although Bangalore politics is hilarious. Is it true he wants to step down? One of the sons is going to become the CM by a sleight of hand. It's like magic. Lalu did that. Lalu went to house arrest and then the wife became the CM in 12 minutes. And he went into a 5-star hotel.
New for India. I think a lot of this is very family oriented.
Yeah, I think it's poetic. I wish... It's okay. It's on this episode. You guys are off the hook. We'll get the blame. Okay. Let me quickly describe more about you. You also work pro bono, which is a horrible thing. That means no money with beneficial tech startups. Why?
Yeah.
Those guys have money.
They normally don't. These are the nice guys. They're like, they want to help people. So
they're the ones not stealing your data.
Nisha, let me tell you, yesterday I saw a startup guy misbehave. He went to space for 20 minutes and came back. Wasted so much money. All right. And my mother saying, oh, only 20 minutes. And I was like, Mom, you can't think of it like that. See how Indian minds are. The lack of respect that the paisa vasoolify didn't happen with all that money and budget and thinking. Isn't it beautiful, our Indian minds? Like, all middle class Indians like, no, go longer. We spend so much. You guys are too young. But for example, when we were growing up in the 90s, if we had a vacation, summer vacation, you have to go for 4 weeks if you go to London, or 6 weeks. You can't go for, now people go for 5 days.
Yeah, it's still a thing.
Oh, you guys go for a week. Vacations. I know.
It has to be a whole Europe tour. You finish everything possible in 2 weeks.
The Nazis spend less time in Europe trying to conquer it than what Indians on Lala tours do. You know, we go.
And you look for vegetarian food wherever you can.
Yes,
that's mine and Nisha's specific.
You find that horrible Saravana Bhavan somewhere in freaking New York, and you have to go there for idlis, which you can have at home.
Yeah, see, it is 20% sawdust.
South Indian delicacy may be tougher, but Gujarati delicacy you'll get on the plane because they'll be carrying it.
That's true.
You go to just look around and say Janami, Pallavi, Falguni, and then they'll stick it out of bags. There'll be Dhokla and Khanvi and all this will be there. So not to panic. By the way, we've not even got through the introduction. We're just I don't know what we're doing. I expected more professionalism from y'all because I don't have any.
So sorry. We're young blood. That's the most we can say.
You Miss Young Blood, you waste a lot of time on Reddit. What means that? I thought Reddit is again my generation.
No, of course not. Reddit is for all people who want to be anonymous across the world. I think
so it's no ageism.
No, of course not. In fact, nobody asks you for it. You don't have to have an email address to sign up. Just get on there and start trolling people. It's
wow. So it's like a better version of Tinder. I like it already.
It really is. There are loads of people also creeping up on you if they find out you're a woman. So
there you go. I mean, I've dated so many men who pretend to be women the last 2 years. It's unbelievable. You have 2 ginger cats which you refuse to show me. But I understand.
I'll be honest, they just scratched me this morning and I'm not ready. I don't think we are ready for that.
People don't know this, but they're generally very nocturnal. So if they're going to their day sleep, you can't touch them for hours. They'll just sleep through it, won't they? Yeah. Which is a few politicians are like that as well. No names. Yeah. Just take a long
siesta. We're doing that. Let's just establish it. It's happening.
Governance is all about. See, they also do pro bono work in that sense. You just turn up. Wasn't the famous Bangalore Parliament where they were watching some of the movies that may or may not have been made in Mud Island, Mumbai during the session? Famously, it was captured on camera. I remember this clearly.
It was in the news for a grand total of 2 days. I think it was really, really sensational.
Okay.
And and then I guess Corner House came out with the new ice cream.
But the excuse, you guys don't remember the excuse. The excuse was it just came on the phone. Like he was tampering on the phone and it just popped up, on its own.
It just turns up. ASL guys, people just turn up to ask you. That's how it is.
He was checking on his NGO for orphans somewhere deep in Coorg or something, and boom, this turns up. All right. So that's Ragavi, Instagram handle. We'll get into that because why give her more promotion? Not necessary. Nisha, you're a Bengaluru-based PR professional who lives in Chennai with her family. That's because of lockdown. So you went back.
Because of that.
But why couldn't you stay in Bengaluru? I presume you have a home there.
Yeah, I did. Then I was asked to leave. And then, in December, they were just like, oh, we're renovating the building. Get out.
Mr. Yediyurappa couldn't help. You could make the phone call.
It's fine. I was in Chennai. I was in Chennai before that anyway. So.
I thought you went out of. I thought I know a couple of males my age group who happily went back home from another city so that mummy can look after them. So I thought it was more that level of comfort and all that. But
actually, I went back home because my dad can look after me. He's an excellent cook. So.
Wow, this is rare in this patriarchal society of ours. A well-disciplined and controlled father. That's a beautiful story, Nisha. I feel like crying. I have tears in my eyes. I'm like your father, but I'm useless. So while I'm controlled by the family, I can't give them anything.
It's the intentions that matter. That's not the deeds.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do everything they say, and mostly they say things like "Get out of the way, I'm watching." Things like that. But I just
Oh,
do what
that's
they tell
exactly
me.
me with my dad. I'm like, whenever he's like, when I'm doing something and he just comes in to interrupt and I just explode for a second and then he comes back and he's just really sweet and I feel bad.
Oh.
So,
Daughters have
yeah.
some power over fathers. It's unfair, that kind of dynamic. My daughter now, she actually sits like a Hindi film villain. In the old days, they used to lie on these beds and give commands. She actually on her side like that and saying, "Dad, water." And it's not even full sentences. The lack of respect that you don't get a full sentence like, "Dad, please, may I get some water?" No, no, no. "Dad,
At least she
water."
said dad.
But that's
Also,
only
it's
because
the
I didn't.
texting
She,
generation. I
one
mean,
second, one second, girls, ladies. She said water first. I didn't respond. The dad was almost irritable. "Dad, water." First, it was just water. I didn't get a dad. Okay, Nisha, you live
yes.
in Chennai now. Nisha knows how the Indian media works. What the hell does that mean?
I
I
work in
could.
public relations, so
So you work
it's
for
just
Arnav.
part of my. No, no, I do not.
Then how do
I
you
did
know how
not need to
Indian
come.
media works?
Well, the nation wants to know.
The nation needs to know.
The nation needs to know.
So, what is this
You,
background of in Indian media?
so I did my master's in communication, and I work in corporate communications now. Of course, before that, I did a lot of work in a couple of PR agencies. This is starting to sound really boring.
It's horrible PR if that's what you're saying.
Yeah, like as I was speaking, I was falling asleep, so I just
Yeah.
decided to stop.
Yeah. Problem with our kind of show, because we're so flippant and off the cuff, is that everything sounds boring after like 5 seconds. And then suddenly you realize you've disrespected the guest because you're not being formal about anything. And then the whole thing is just like a collage of nonsense.
Oh,
Which
we
won't,
waive all formality. Feel free. Just
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bit late for that now. You're behaving like
that
my
is true.
daughter. I mean, it's done now.
Like
We can't do
12
anything.
minutes in.
Dynamic is in place. We haven't even started talking. We're just describing where you guys are. Now, Nisha knows how the India very interested in public perception of female criminals. Where did that come from? No, not that I'm a sexist. By the way, no, all criminals must be male. No, please
Why does
share
everyone
them.
preface
There
with
was a
that?
Mrs. Veerapan. There was a Mrs. Veerapan
That's
since we're
true.
Bangalore bound.
Behind
I mean, there
every
must have
great
been. There
criminal
must have
man.
been. Yeah, every great elephant killer. Yeah, that's right. Go on. What?
No, so and I think so. When the way we've defined, like the way we look at our podcast and the kind of research that we do, Ragavi does a lot of like the law-based research, really
Put the
finding out
pressure
the
on her.
nitty-gritties.
Yeah.
And and all I do is just look up stuff on the news and like laugh at like ridiculous headlines and things like that. So that's the fun part that I get.
That's definitely not true. To be very honest, like when I script, most of what I do is just think about how Nisha will react to a particular joke or to what I'm writing. So when I do that, it makes me already feel like, aha, somebody else will also like this because Nisha's fun like that.
Oh,
So
you
yeah.
guys, the point is about female criminals. Nisha, you not said anything about female criminals.
I mean, that's what I research for the podcast. Is that what like?
Oh,
That's the thing that we look at.
so generally speaking, what is the proportion ratio female vis-a-vis male in India? I mean,
I
would it be
think
like
there's an actual stat on that, but also like just if you look through all of the information that we've seen so far, there's barely any coverage on anything. So we try to make do as much as possible. And I think more importantly, like a lot of times when you have actual criminals, the stories on actual women criminals, it's like laced in with, oh, also there was a guy who did the same thing years later, but the guy is more
yeah.
important. Why?
yeah,
So
you've taken
that's
women
actually how they
empowerment to
started.
another level. I got a lot
Yes,
of respect
that's-
for you.
That's
Like,
the point that
that's
we were trying to drive.
This is
female
exactly how it
criminality has to be
started.
respected on par.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we all suck
That's-
equally, guys. Come on.
Fair
Women
enough,
also
okay.
suck. That's what it is.
Stop it. I'm an old man. My heart starts beating fast when you make all these double entendres. Stop it. Now, I want to quickly clarify. So the name is, because I hear this all the time, maybe more South Indian style, it's Nisha, and more North Indian style, it's Nisha. Is that true?
I think so because my name is
Yeah.
Nisha.
Or is that, are you sure, right?
100%. Not Nisha.
Okay, now I've got a
Spelled with
difficult
one
part coming.
eye.
One eye, yeah. No, I hear those who know this properly and they say it correctly depending on where the person is from. So you presume that it's a Nisha versus a Nisha. It's a slight, let's not get the foreigners involved. It'll take them years to understand it. And
Yeah,
not
then
give them
there's
bothered with
my
that.
name.
Rani, one
Yeah.
generic name for all Indian women, that's just do that. Okay, sorry, quick singing. So you are an amazing singer and you have a background in college radio. So I've been told to let you sing for 10 to 15 minutes. Ragavi suggested that you'd love to hear your own voice and to sing minimum of 6 to 7 songs. So or is it Hindustani classical or whatever it is? It's up to you.
No. I mean, I don't believe Raghavi would have mentioned that. It's just
Yeah.
I used to sing for a little bit. I sing on the podcast.
Authoritarian. Oh.
Hey,
Yes.
come
Look,
on.
why is it there in the biodata? All right, if it's in the biodata, then it's got to be
I
like
do
real.
sing. No, I do sing, and I sing on each of the podcasts episode as well. So we
What
do
can
the
you sing on
theme song
ours?
together.
What's the theme
I mean,
song? Is it a
theme
Friends?
song is I guess it could be like Friends. There's no clapping
Okay.
though. I think maybe we should probably add that in. That's a cool.
That's where I
Oh,
come in.
that would be the
The
dream.
male
Yeah.
has to also contribute. Yeah. So what is the song?
This song is. I mean, do you want me to sing it for you?
Yeah, just a couple of
Go
lines
for
if you're
it.
comfortable. Not
You
forcing
have the
you.
uke on hand.
You know what? I do have the uke on hand, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna play the full chords because then you can't hear everything.
Okay, for those who don't know what a
Fair,
uke
fair.
is, that's the
It's a baby guitar.
ukulele. Okay, all right. A baby guitar. So when two guitars meet, the parents accept the
Yes.
match, they have a child, that's the baby guitar who's female. Because this is a very
Sometimes the
female
parents say
empowerment
no,
sort
and then
of
you have
show.
to run away. But that's fine.
Then you become a really small guitar. Is it? I don't know.
All right,
Go on.
but Raghavi, you're
I'll
gonna
do
sing
it.
the yes. All
Let's
right,
do it.
cool. So this is our theme song, but like a acoustic, like slow jam version. Okay,
This show
here
is
we
so slow, you can't go slower. Don't worry.
go. Hey. Women are thieves and murderers,
That's gross misconduct.
con artists, money launderers,
Sounds like criminal misconduct.
financial fraud that's hard to track.
Take some planning, but it's still misconduct.
Even breaching a contract.
Oh, but that's civil though.
It's misconduct. Misconduct. We tell you all about women that suck. Things that make you say, what the? It's misconduct.
All right. I need my medication. It's too much for me. I'm too old. I'm too vegetarian when it comes to all these lyrics and all that. It's too much for me, really. The people in my
You're too
office.
old for talent, Cyrus. That's impossible.
Your talent is great. It's just the lyrics were too much. I mean, I'm not exposed to all this. Yeah, we never use these words that
Yeah.
you're using.
That's
But
why we're trying to drive the point home with a catchy song that women are.
I've got this theory that men think they have the monopoly over bad words, sex jargon, things like that. So I got a young daughter, so I always told her, you just teach these men, they're all bullies. You be dirtier than them, you be more vulgar than them, you own it, and you watch how men run. And I'm telling you, it's true. Men are so uncomfortable with women who are empowered with a sense of sexual, identity and whatever. They start talking like men. Men can't have they don't have a comeback. They just feel awkward and like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. It's almost like you've molested them in public. The man just loses his personality. So I'm very glad to hear this. I think
No,
this is
I've
great.
seen that too. I think this is more of a. It's really like a shock factor thing. It's terrible that still happens, but it is what it is.
It's just because it's all bullying, Men think they can get away with just all the language, etc., etc. They do it and they feel very macho about it. And a woman does it, they feel completely awkward, and that's so strange.
Is it the part where we say not all men because that's going to happen, right?
Yes.
Do I have to say
No,
that?
all men. I hate men.
No,
I'm
no.
not a male fan. I'm a
You
complete
said
traitor in that sense. Yeah, no. But like I keep saying, look, I grew up with not grew up. I grew up with my mother and then wife and no daughter. All are alpha females. So I don't have a choice. There's no question. I know my position from start to finish, and the dynamic has worked very well, and I have no problem with it.
That's amazing. Knowing your
You really-
place.
Except for the purpose that men have in terms of maybe sometimes
Just that
earning
one
money for the family, or procreation, for which in any
Yeah.
case is not once in a rare while. What is the use of a man? I don't know.
I
mean, look
feel like
at
that's a rhetorical question.
Okay, I'll tell you.
is the
When I
use
walk
of
my
this?
dogs, the only people who stare at me with mouths open for no reason are men. Women don't behave like that. And men are just hanging around the area, just standing and looking at you.
They
without
stare at you
blinking.
for walking a dog.
They're Indians.
Is that your
and men.
tone
Indians and men
t-shirts?
together is a horrible. No, it's not the way you're thinking. I'm not John Abraham. I'm me. They're not looking like that. They're looking because they're bored and they don't realize that they're crossing the line of proximity where in another culture they'd be shot. You can't go to New York and stare
That's
at a guy while he's walking.
Oh, no way.
But here, what is wrong with us? That's what I'm saying. From the basic, unit of normalcy, it's all wrong. Why do they do that? Just get on with your life. It's like the world's warriors. I don't like men. I don't
The
like men at all. Is
world's
that okay?
warriors.
The
No,
world's
that's
worst, I
absolutely
know.
fine. It's absolutely okay to not like men. We feel a little compelled because we're still babies in the industry, so to speak, that we're going to hashtag not all men this for the sake of self-preservation.
And because you want
But
numbers. And
of
you need the numbers.
course,
For
Because
numbers, you
I
need
mean
votes.
that is our target audience, right? It's
yes.
Yeah.
basically women
So
who want to know, like
women
who
and
feel
women and
empowered,
those. Yeah.
and men who hate women.
Okay. So women and those bastards. Let's just get it out of the way.
Again, your words. No, but seriously, I think that's when we look at the fact that there are women that will really enjoy this podcast, and there's the fact that there are men who may hate women and therefore enjoy this podcast. That's everybody in the world.
Yeah,
The one great thing about the internet is the rise of women. At least that's what I feel in terms of comedy, entertainment. Suddenly you see more and more people like girls like yourself, so owning the space slowly. I think that's just great. It's great for men also to finally realize that, it's not their thing. It's a shared thing. Okay, now enough feminism from the three of us ladies. Let's move on. Okay, so by the way, we wasted 20 odd minutes just
Oh,
talking
no.
about who you guys are, when you could have just played that song, which is so self-explanatory that would have just summed up everything. Play it twice and that's the show. We've all got it, and it's catchy enough. Really, why didn't you just think of that? 23 minutes wasted. All right, so now we have to ask the big question about misconduct. Firstly, what's the relationship between Ragavi and Nisha? Were you friends before? Is there some background? Is some shared
Sure.
pain?
Nisha, do you want me to take this?
Go for it.
Yeah, we've been friends for like over 20 years now.
Wow.
We're hitting our 30s now, so we've been friends for essentially since you
I
were
never
9
asked, but I
years
was
old.
calculating.
I was
You are
doing the
right.
maths. I knew you were
Yeah.
doing the maths in your head. I could hear the gears
You
clicking.
gave, you gave this old man a third heart attack. Oh, 20 years, but they're hardly 25. I'm thinking, okay, what is this?
But yes, yeah.
Huh.
We've known each other since we were almost 9 years old. We lived together as not we were family friends in Dubai, and that's how we knew each other when we both lived there. And eventually
In
just
Dubai?
we both grew up in Dubai. Yeah, so that's when
Wow.
we first met, and then we just kept in touch through the ages, and now we're just the embodiment of a supportive and respectful female friendship. That's all it is.
Really?
That's all. Really.
We are.
Of course, we have like creative disagreements and all that stuff, but that's the most of it. I think we've mostly gotten along throughout our relationship, I feel.
How can you not have creative disagreements when you're doing something like this? I mean, it would be unnatural. One of you is an idiot then, it's like, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. No, what I mean is if one person just does everything and the other person just says yes, 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 there are relationships like that in politics, but not really in
Oh, we keep actually what we do
Well.
is like perfectly split even the kind of
Yeah.
work that we do, because I can never do the musical stuff that she does. She like obviously will not understand
I
the law
can't
necessarily
read
like
that much. I cannot.
So you don't
But I
compete in
think,
that sense. You've made sure that your spaces are different. That's good actually. Because
Yeah, we're very careful about the like how we break apart as in it's not like it just happened. It just so happens that we're like that and it's sort of working out. So
No, but you're lucky because I'll tell you, we write together, for example, a group of guys, and it's very difficult sometimes to appreciate somebody else's. A, because you're a jerk, and B, because you got the same line of thought, and also it's very difficult to be magnanimous. I'm always acting insincerely. Yeah, that's great. Where your body language means it's not, but you say the right thing. Isn't that also a very Indian thing to do? I think we do that very well. Huh, beta? Well done, well done. Like, you're really not good. Yeah, so
But I guess that's completely missing from us because we
At the
we
moment.
appreciate. Well, for the past 20 years, we made it work. It's just that now we're
20
formally
years of
doing
friendship.
it.
Now it's a professional thing. If this clicks and you get really big, that's when the test will happen. I'd love to see
man, what is happening?
Here's hoping.
But that's what happens with success. Lennon McCartney, Salim Javed. You look at any groups of all across the world, a great
We
rock
are
group,
nowhere close
poets
to
that
Lennon
work together.
McCartney. If
No,
anything,
but the point is when you become really famous, suddenly there'll be like, the pull from the Chamchas and other people outside, the Yoko Onos, so to speak, etc. And boom, before you know it, I've destroyed
You know what?
Ragavi and Nisha.
there is nobody that can Yoko Ono us because we don't have the same taste in men
Hey,
at all.
Miss
It's
30.
impossible.
Oh, don't worry about
That's
that.
true.
You don't have to have the same taste in anything. This is the same actual philosophy which goes wrong in Indian families across North, South, East, West India, which is they think that everything is great in their nuclear family till they get married and the fighting starts. I'm not blaming their spouses from outside, but whatever happens, dynamics change. I mean, there's so many examples and they're across the
But-
country. You can't even say it's one
Then
community.
it's a good
not.
thing that we're 30 years old and nobody wants to marry us. So, hey.
You're so lucky you're not married. No, marriage is a great thing. Sure, it's a great thing.
Well done, well done.
Best thing I ever
That
did.
was
Yeah, whatever. It's the same thing. You say the right word, just don't show it. That's it. Okay, guys, you said nothing. We almost have to take a break in a minute or two. But so misconduct. You just to explain in a, I mean, the song sort of explain the issues you take up and all that. But then what? You just discuss it, or you try and research and find answers and solutions?
Okay, so I'll tell you how we do this. I'll tell you what I do. I basically look up everything that I can from a legal perspective, all your laws, everything that really happened around it, your trials and stuff. We talk about that, but Nisha picks up the stuff where the media covered it, how they responded to her, like how she was treated by the media, stuff like that. And we sort of mush it all together, pull a narrative into it, and then we just talk about it. So there are parts that are narrative, like we outrightly say things people quoted and stuff. And there are parts that we are just like,
Riffing and just
Yeah,
making fun of this person.
that's really it. We try really hard. I mean, we never make fun of the victims because that's just ridiculous. Always punch up. But yeah, the woman itself is not out of bounds. We are very
Up for
hard to make
grabs.
Always
fun of her.
punch up. Okay, this is one of my big mistakes. I always go for the lowest hanging fruit who can't fight back. That's wrong. Apparently.
Oh.
Attack the victim, I thought. It's the safest thing to do back home in India. So there's no controversy. Yeah.
Attack the
Basically,
Are
we
you
take
worried?
one woman. We take one woman and we kind of like talk about the things that she did and was she caught?
Isn't that the
was she-
Mahabharat? Sorry.
Yes.
sorry.
Heavy.
Strike that off the record, me lord. Strike that off the record.
Yeah, things that she did, was she taken to court, and then what we think about her, and
But
There's
you
a
will
lot
not
of
get
what
the
we think.
opinion-
there.
You'll not get the opinion of erstwhile legal luminaries and, so-called
We're thinking
aficionados
of it actually. We're thinking of getting guests on, but
Yeah.
for now we sort of actually, if you notice, like the first season, what we have planned is not going to be particularly heavy. There are episodes later that it's going to be really hard to like work on, politically speaking, as well as. I mean, just from how difficult it is to research this stuff. There are women that have killed children and stuff, and it's going to be so hard for us to just read it up. It's going to suck. So we push that stuff a little later when we get people to be like trust a little more in us. So then we can put that
Got to
out.
be careful. You choose topics like that. Where's the humor? It's going to be so
There
tough.
isn't.
I mean, I could still find it, but
There-
it'll be really
yeah.
wrong to. Oh God.
no,
that's terrible.
all what we do in those kind of episodes, we just make fun of each other. Because
Yeah.
you can't go
But
wrong with that.
It's like a false note. No, I've tried that. You go to a funeral and you say two men walk into a bar and everybody's like, "Why you mad? You just died."
Why are you saying that at funerals? That's incredibly inappropriate. That's a
I
very
got this
different
problem.
setup.
But a lot of people have this problem. It's not just me. When you go to a very serious place, I can't be serious. My body just goes into non-serious. And I don't mean disrespect. It's not malice, It's not, but I've spoken to people about this, and it's not like I'm trying to insult someone. It's like a nervous energy just takes over, and then I've got to giggle.
But a lot of people use humor. Like I have one of my closest friends, her father passed away, and I say that very callously when she was very young because she constantly makes jokes. Like if we say anything about, oh, my dad got me this, she like the first thing she says is, oh, I wish I could say that. Like, and it catches you off guard every single time.
It's a way of dealing with it. In a way, it's therapeutic, I presume. Sometimes people, because obviously,
I assume.
the more she does it, she's dealing with it better, in a sense. I hope. I don't know. I can't say. But,
No,
but
I mean,
people give you
tragedy
this-
plus time is comedy, right? I mean, at the end of the day, very often. So why not? But it's a great way to cope. So
You're getting so much out of this
I
lawyer.
don't know. It's like, I'm taking lessons of, from Shakespeare.
None of these are things
the
I'm
Mrs.,
saying.
The Mrs. The real one. Mrs. Shakespeare. Yeah. Yeah.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anne Hathaway. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
not the actress. Well, she was also an actress, by the way. But,
She was also an actress, yes.
yeah, so it's good. Going back to the whole thing about, so you don't mean anything, by it. You don't mean to be rude or whatever. And it could even happen at a meeting where everybody's really tense and they're formal and the body language is, nobody talks. The whole momentum is bad and you're just dying to giggle and laugh. And you're killing the seriousness of that room. So either they feel disrespected or it really relaxes people. But I don't know. I don't know if it's right or
Yeah,
wrong.
it could
but
go
it's
both
really-
ways. You're right. Sometimes people
Yeah.
just take it really well, and
It's
then
a
everybody starts laughing. It's a risk, but you got to take it because how else can you be the center of attention?
See, like if they know me and all, I'm okay. They don't expect much more, so it's fine. But what if you're
I'm
with
trying
people
to
who don't
figure
know
out
you?
who is the person who doesn't know you.
Oh God, everyone. The people in the lane when I'm walking who stare at me, they just stare like that.
I just
I mean, if they knew me, they wouldn't stare.
Cracking
That's for sure. Listen, girls, you've talked too much. You've wasted my time. I'm an old man with a heart problem, and I've got to take my daughter to stir fry for Bangkok. What's the word? Thai food. There's this place in
Oh.
Mumbai where we eat but now because of COVID, you used to, how do you explain it? The wok. So the wok
Ah, the
thing,
walk.
you hand put it yourself, right? That's the whole fun of the
Yes.
wok. All the vegetables and
It's got the
non-vegetables
little
and the
grill thing in the
sauces.
middle. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and that's the fun, right? It's like doing your own thing. Now because of COVID, you have to tick things on a thing and they fill it in. So that half that experience is gone because you're ticking.
Oh.
I'll have capsicum, cucumber, whatever. You tick it all.
Oh,
What are
you
the
can't
things
just
you
pick it
want?
up and place it. Oh,
So,
that's
so you
No.
pay to
Yeah.
go to a place to cook, which you can do at home?
Fair.
Now you put it that way, I feel really
Just to
special.
clarify.
I didn't think
As
about
my
it that way.
as my wife says, I have no skills, none, and no double entendre here, ladies. Leave it there. Okay, there's no need to knock a man when he's down. Okay, so we have to take a
Oh.
quick break. Ragavi and Nisha, and welcome Mr. Silvery, who's closer to you in age than I am. Hopefully, there'll be a better connection once he comes in. Silvery, bhai.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going?
If you
Hey.
did this, then you're not better to them because that's my generation. Going to rock concerts,
Yeah.
these old men. Rock.
That's how we do it.
Nisha's if she's a real Bangalore girl, she'll know that. I was big in Bangalore in the 90s. This
Oh, yeah.
sign. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Everybody-
yeah.
Oh,
It's back.
through the 2000s when we
Yeah,
were
Yeah,
in
it's,
college
it's
too.
back
Yeah.
and all. It's all the time. Like every
It's
photo,
back,
you'll
it's
see
back.
someone in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're
Surely
a
you would
rocker.
reach Bangalore very fast.
You're a rocker till you die. So it doesn't matter. Silvery, are you enjoying
Yes.
this?
Yes, absolutely. I want to ask these guys, Raghavi and Nisha, can you guys tell us a couple of the stories that you've already covered? I know Cyanide Mallika is a very interesting story. If you guys can kind of like give us like some key points from a
Terrorist?
couple of the episodes.
Yeah, go for it, Nisha. This is yours.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So Cyanide Mallika she was actually Kempamma, and she's based out of Bangalore, I guess. She was a fun little lady, and all she did was like put cyanide in a lot of women's prasadam, and
Why?
because she wanted to rob them, so she killed them. So she would like
Cyanide kills?
lure them. Yeah, we actually go into great detail of how like cyanide kills and
So,
things
like
like that.
immediate.
No.
Immediate
I'm
death.
asking why would she have to kill to rob? You don't have to go that far to rob.
Yeah, she went quite far. I
She
don't think
decided
thought
that she
about it.
wants to. She felt like, you know what, I'm gonna finish the job, like close the loop on these things.
Yeah,
So yeah,
perfectionist.
she would
Come on, you guys.
Her
exactly. So,
husband
so
must
she
have
would
been
lure them.
had sleepless nights. What's
Oh,
for dinner today, baby?
Her husband,
Yeah,
I guess her husband picked up on something like this and like kicked her out at a very early stage. So yeah,
But
so
she's
she
a
was
proper
all on her
psychopath.
own.
This is a complete, absolute
She
murderer.
was not a psychopath.
But she's killing
That's
people
the
just to
thing.
rob them. Nobody does that.
Yeah, but
The
she's
end
not a
doesn't justify.
psycho.
Loads of
No,
people
a lot of
do
people do
that.
that.
In
Cool-
fact, when you
cool
look
motive,
at
still
No,
murder.
you attempt not to kill when you rob because it's a much lower degree. I'm not saying robbery is good, but it's a much lower degree of crime than murder. Then
yeah,
accidents happen
but
and all that.
now you
but
have a witness. So
Yes, and
Yeah,
she
someone
didn't
who can go to
expect
the
her to get
cops and all.
caught.
Yeah.
someone who
And
survived.
she would like speak to these women who she's like murdering. She would like be friends with them for ages. So it was like a well planned scheme. It's not like
Yeah.
just decided to do it on a fly. She would take them to a temple, promise them something, and say that don't worry, if you do this puja, you will get a son or whatever they want, their deepest darkest desires. And then she would say, here, eat this prasadam. It is totally safe for you. And they would eat it, and unfortunately, they would pass away, and she would run off with
And
all
they
of
would
the
What an
pass away
irony.
instantly.
You're eating the food of the
Almost.
gods
Pretty much,
as
yeah.
your final meal. The
Yeah.
Last Supper.
Well, that's
That
what
is
you
quite
think is the
divided,
fruit of the
yeah.
gods. It's something that she literally picked up off the street and gave it to you as prasadam. So, is it
In-
really
in-
though?
In this
There's something
country,
that's
there's
really-
a lot of. Sorry, go on.
Oh,
yeah.
so, no. There was one thing that was really interesting about her, though, is the fact that she could have just like used a knife and like hacked and slashed people, but she chose to use something that would kill you almost instantaneously. Like
Ragavi
there's
and
no,
Nisha,
there's no
now y'all are
mess.
scaring me. Why does she have to use a knife? Why does she have to use cyanide? All she had to do is steal. You don't have to kill. I mean,
Yeah, but she
just think of
chose
it.
not to, and that's I
But
think
you've been
that's
friends with those
that's
that
something
She
worth
person
chose
that
to kill.
they know
Which is-
exactly what you look like. You would definitely get caught by the police.
Wait, she was
Still-
killing her
still-
friends, you're saying?
She would become
No,
friends
she'd
with
befriend
these
them.
women.
She'd befriend them.
Befriend them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there was a
And
lot
then-
of planning and stuff that went
And
into
she's
this.
been caught. Obviously, she's been caught because how do you know the story?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
Okay.
in jail.
yes.
She's in Bangalore Central Jail, actually.
she's just chilling in there for the rest of
Wow.
her life.
Yep.
Okay.
But I would
uh,
think if you murdered a few people, you shouldn't really be getting 4 years. Yeah.
They talked about that.
Yeah,
She actually got the death sentence first. But then there are a lot of cases where people have been given the death sentence for infinitely worse things. I don't want to get into that because it's genuinely depressing and it's 10:30 in the morning. But yeah.
Yeah, but the rarest of the rare is a really strange line. What is rarest of the rare? Because the person who's been victimized will find it the rarest of the rare every time. So Kasab rarest of the rare because terrorists come from whatever, shot kids and everything. But in this case, is equally bad for me. She's just killing people randomly just to rob what $10,000 worth of jewelry half the time.
But
I think
for
the
her, that
worst
was
is
quite
like
a lot,
after-
right? Yeah,
I
so go ahead.
suppose. And it, six women that she had killed, and the worst was the way she got caught. She had her, like, one of the stolen phones. She had kept her location on and her SIM card on, so they just tracked her and they found her. So considering all of the planning that she did, she couldn't plan this.
I wish I had spoken to her first because I have a few women I want to kill, and if we had to in this situation, if you're not that I'm it's wrong. Don't kill. Sylvie, don't
Are
kill.
we accomplices in this conversation? I feel like
Actually,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
won't
said
talk.
in the end,
I
don't
will
you
not.
are
kill.
you are the you guys are the inception of the idea. You guys gave us the idea to do this.
We'll have to take you down with us on this one.
Yeah.
We-
Sorry,
we're
this
the,
is
we're
what
the-
it is.
we are the
Fine.
Titanic, or as we say in Ahmedabad, the Titanic. Okay? Welcome to the
Disgusting.
This is Titanic. Come here, everybody.
That's awful.
It's
But yeah,
true.
we have that's just the first episode we've had. The third
Yeah.
one is out. Sorry, the fourth one is out.
Fourth
today.
one.
Fourth one is out
today.
today. Fourth one is out
Yeah,
today.
Yep.
So
That's right.
today is Sasikala Baby Patankar.
Patankar.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, the fourth one is
The
kind of
same name
special
as
to
Shashikala.
us. Sorry?
Her name is also Shashikala. This Patankar is a
Yeah,
Maharashtra
but she's called Baby.
She's
She's
called
from
Baby.
Mumbai.
Baby
She's one of your
sounds
people.
more Mallu.
She's one
Shashikala
of your
sounds
people.
more
Oh,
Tamil,
so the-
and then Patankar is Maharashtrian. So this person is a well-rounded citizen.
Yes.
Yeah,
She
so
really
Akshay
is.
Kumar
She
movie
really
is based on her.
represents us.
The
Which
Akshay
one?
Kumar
Sorry?
movie is based on her, basically.
Which one?
The Baby Akshay Kumar movie is based on her. No, I'm just
Funny
joking.
boy. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, we're looking at some stressful research that's been done by my two August philosophers here. Yeah, bloody Akshay Kumar, baby. You damn Punjabis. Your
But
contribution to podcast.
she's from your city, Cyrus. You should know her. She was a really big deal for a long time.
Patankar is a very
She's
common
still-
name here. Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah,
but
she was.
a baby Patankar who also sells mephedrone on the streets and probably got a lot of people addicted to it.
What do you mean by
Allegedly,
baby? She's a kid.
No, that's
No,
her
she's-
name.
her name, like a family called her Baby, and that's the name that stuck. And she thought it was cool enough to stick with, like how like Jayalalitha does Amma, like those sorts of things. But
It's not
she
the
liked
same
the name
thing.
she stuck
Because
with.
when you're
It's not the
62
same
and called baby,
Man.
it sounds ridiculous. Amma, actually, you grow
I
into
just-
it. You grow into it. Huh?
I just realized I have a baby Masi. Damn.
Your baby.
Her
don't
name
know.
is Baby.
Mine?
No, like
Mine.
that's what she's
Oh.
commonly called in the
The lady of
Ah.
service.
relations.
Sylvie, the
I
lady
was
of
going to
service in
ask
my
what's her
house.
last name.
In my house, there's a lady of service who helps us with stuff and we pay her salary. She calls me Baba and she's 7 years younger than me.
Oh.
So somebody raised it the other day. He said, "But she's so much younger than why she calling you Baba?" But that's the way it is. Baba, baby, we would remain like that for life. It's a bit embarrassing as the grades start. Sorry.
Yeah,
so,
but this woman is quite fun. She's basically been as far as we know, allegedly she's been
Allegedly.
around. Allegedly because we just listen to the podcast, you will know. But
You're the
essentially,
lawyer.
she's just been. No, yes, we have to say it. I
I'll
mean,
also say it.
yeah,
But
so
say the full thing.
allegedly.
She's
So basically, yes. So she has been accused multiple times of distributing MCAT, which is a very adulterated form of MDMA. It's
I am
really,
my expert
really
here. You
bad
don't have
for
to
you.
explain. Sylvie, क्या होता है ये MCAT?
So see, you know how you make it is you just get like a water bottle, right? Yeah, you put on the gas and all. It just like about an hour
Your
thing and
mom
you'll be
watches
done,
the
you'll be
show.
ready.
Do I have to remind
Yeah.
you? Your mom is your big fan. Watches the show. Yeah.
Mom, I can make MCAT at home. Great news.
Yay!
Things you learn in the lockdown.
Yeah. His biopic is from pizza to MCAT.
Dalgona coffee, bread, and
Innocent start with
Definitely.
pizza, margarita with cheese. Then he cuts to MCAT. Yeah, but baby, order place karo. So what's her
But yeah,
ending,
she
though, girls?
we don't want to tell you. You gotta listen to. But I mean, yeah, she gets caught, and
There is. Does she though? Does
she
she
gets
though?
caught. But then what happens after that?
It's all a scam.
She's out.
She
Is it
is
in the
out. Yeah,
episode to
I'll
know
tell you
more?
that she is out. But
Yeah.
there's the how she got out is ridiculous. Like that's the part that's insanely interesting. It's like a weird web of lies. We haven't figured out whether she did it, whether somebody else made her get out. We just don't know. But it's really, really ridiculous how she got out. So we talk about
So,
all of
no,
that
no,
on this episode.
so what you're saying is there are more people involved, and it could have been more than her, but it's definitely her as well.
No, it could
Oh,
have been her
definitely.
plotting it from the beginning. Also, we don't know.
That's also
It's
true.
just such a mesh of lies and nonsense. It's really fun.
You mean
She's
she
really
planned to get
smart.
caught? Is what you're saying?
Yeah,
planned to get caught?
maybe.
Maybe.
Whoa.
Maybe. I feel like this is like some version of multiverse of madness. With
I can read, ladies. I can read Silvery's mind. I know what he's saying. She planned to get caught so that the biopic with Akshay Kumar called "Baby" could be made.
Baby,
It's all
exactly.
Ah.
Exactly.
all, you know.
It's
fair
all
enough.
She's
Look
smart.
at-
She's smart. Yeah.
This is a person ahead of her times. We should show respect.
Yeah.
It's not about the
That
crime.
I agree. She is a person ahead of her time. She was quite
Some of these guys-
always a bit ahead of the game.
I know we're joking about it, but some of these guys are actually very creative and innovative in that sense, are they not?
They really
we
are.
actually mention that quite often, that we recognize, we respect the women for being conniving and manipulative, but then of course we say that, hey, you chose the wrong path and did the wrong things. But if we still
Yeah,
can't
you
take
can
over.
hear.
I mean, if it was legal to murder, you're great at it.
Exactly.
Sorry?
That's exactly correct.
Yes.
And also the
Yep.
fact that you've achieved your path is the way you wanted to go get whatever you wanted to get. So that has been done. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't
go
end up
get
doing
that,
that. Yeah. Killer instinct,
You
literally, and all
You
that.
can
but,
always
yeah.
hear us when we're talking about them. There's a light tinge of fangirling somewhere
Admiration.
that is super inappropriate, but we are like, no,
Ragavi,
we
be
don't
careful.
condone it. Yeah.
Oh my
We
God,
try
you're
to
worse.
offset it
You're
by
worse than us.
making jokes about them.
That's terrible. Sliver of admiration for a person who kills children. I mean, but
No, of course not her.
Whoa. We haven't gone there yet.
No,
Just
no,
the people
that's
who are
for
selling,
later.
like, who may be selling drugs.
Do men
who,
play a role at all in these stories? Men have forced them into this life, or because of a man this happened. Is there ever a male story at the back?
Cyanide
Very
Mallika-
rarely. Cyanide
Actually,
Mallika,
the
not
thing is,
even.
we tried to
Yeah,
step
They are
out.
redundant. Sylvie,
No, it's
they're
not.
men of-
He was
Yeah.
Cyanide Mallika's husband kicked her out because she was already a scam artist. She was scamming people into like fake
wow.
chit funds and stuff. So it's not. She was scammed from beginning only. So it's
Actually,
just that
we
she
found
decided to
it's-
take her scam to the next level.
Yeah,
This is
we
also
found that it's
nature
very
nurture
rare that
question.
men are involved. Oh, sorry?
No, but you guys, it's a good thing you picked up on nature nurture. A lot of people ask criminality, just like sexuality and other things. Is there a DNA factor involved? If so, how strong is it? Why some people prone? You grow up with some people, and suddenly you find that X person, white collar crime, whatever it is. There's a criminality which you would not do. The way we're raised in the middle class, especially across the world, is that you just don't do criminal things, right? So, like Silvery is never, except for not giving tips to people who serve him at restaurants, but that's not criminal. That's unclassy. That's unclassy. It's different.
That's a crime. I'm sorry.
That's a crime.
In our eyes. And our validation is all that matters.
What?
Oh, it's so unfair.
That's the rest, guys. That's how I do it.
Man. I mean, was there service tax? In which case, fine, I understand.
I suppose.
charge. Yeah,
And
no
some
charge.
charge.
That's another pain in the ass because then you have to go
Yeah.
and show it, and you just look like a miser, na? Ye kya hai? What
Yeah,
is
you
this? But guys,
200 rupiya.
so what-
Arre.
so coming back, so what do you think of? So you think that they have a deep? I mean, you can't help themselves. Okay, this is the wrong phrase to use, but do you think that it's like it's just there, like a predator has to hunt? I mean,
I think a lot of it is also choice. To be fair, like especially women that we've
Yeah.
spoken, or just generally when we look at criminals in general, choice is a really huge factor. There is always at one point where you can just sort of stop and be like, wait a second. And they don't do that. So yes,
you're looking from your
DNA does
perspective, Ragavi, but that person can't stop themselves. Like we have certain impulse issues over certain things. Like when I see a man with his mouth open, I go and stare at him from 1 inch away.
No, I
Okay.
think it's a bit of both. I think it's like it's
Yeah.
a bit of like nature and as well as nurture. It's sometimes it's your personality that helps you be a horrible person. Like Ruxana, for example, right? It was her personality to be like to assume that everyone is below her,
Yeah.
and that really helped her to force like sterilization programs because she doesn't get bothered
didn't
by
think it
things
was a
that
bad
happen
thing.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't think
Yeah.
it was a bad thing. So I guess
think
it's a
But
bit
is
this
it a
is
bad
a
thing?
conversation
It's a good
Uh,
thing.
for sterilization.
force.
I think This
I'm
is
okay
a
with
pretty
it.
big topic right now, right? Because of the
Yeah.
UP rule,
Yeah.
the 2 kids and bust
That seems to
rule.
be targeting, as we mentioned on the podcast, targeting one community more than anything
Hmm.
else, with the obvious slant perspective. We won't mention all
But
that.
it's a very similar sort of understanding, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the fact that there is somebody in power thinks there's a way to control a certain group of people, and that's what he felt Ruxana really had. So it really like it's really a lot about what you're exposed to as a person. But even at that point, at some point, you can just stop and say, hey, what if someone did this to me?
Agreed.
I might not
But
like it.
yeah,
So
but also
Ruxana,
like
yeah.
Ruxana was a
I
people
might not
pleaser
like
and
it.
she had to do everything
There's not a
that
man alive
that
who
she was
like
told.
it. What are you saying? I might not like it. Hi,
I'm
my
like,
name is Vijay. I'm not very fond of this procedure. Or kuch hai? Show me on the menu. What is cheaper?
can I just take a pill?
Yeah.
so Ruxana
Can you?
operated during the time of Indira Gandhi, right? So while that
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing was
Sanjay
going on,
Gandhi,
In the
but Sanjay
80s,
Gandhi's
yes.
thing.
Emergency.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right. Yep, yep,
Okay.
yep.
But apparently those stories are vicious, huh? Of actually
They
pulling
really
people
are.
out of the houses and all. Literally, we're joking about it, but it's almost like Nazi Germany. They come and pull you out and cut off the,
Yeah.
what you
We
may call it,
actually
the
make that
class reference. Yeah.
comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a chunk in the north that Nisha says in the podcast. It's called the vasectomy belt. Today we know it as, I guess, the cow belt.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the vasectomy belt, effectively.
The belt is rather broad. It went from vasectomy to cow belt.
No, but yeah, that's that entire strip of like a chunk of North India. I mean, there are loads of cases in like Maharashtra and South India, Orissa, those sorts of things as well. But a lot of these were better documented in North India. I guess maybe because like
But
journalists
that
had
is
better
what
reach.
Ragavi, that is what they're saying about the COVID figures as well. I don't want to
Yeah.
point fingers, but they're saying UP and Uttarakhand are not very careful with their maths, and their statistics are a little off the mark. I wonder if that would be
Little.
right to say.
I wouldn't know till we have numbers. What can we say?
They
What
say
can
only
we say?
2,000 cases after
Oh,
all the people bathing together in one lovely spot, lakhs at a time. I don't know if you all saw that. Was it Shahi Snan? Lovely.
I missed it.
Let's again.
The,
Yeah, I
the
think somewhere along the
ladies is a
line,
male thing.
something. Yeah.
Men love to bathe together. Nobody knows why. And they're all straight men. They're not gay men. They're straight men. They love to. Let's go for a bath.
It's just
And
bros
everybody's
being bros.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone takes the mask off, wears it as a langot, and goes for their bath. And that's what it is. But you have to talk at least. Now, what are you going to do with the other man? There's no sexuality involved. It's chat.
That's
Sylvia, am I right or
true.
wrong? We are
Yeah,
bath lovers.
absolutely.
Talk about
Yeah.
men
Indian men
stuff.
in bath.
And I wear my mask as my abdomen guard all the time.
Yeah. Worst part is after the bath, I wear your mask on my abdomen guard. So you may be
Aww. Hey, that's quite wholesome, Nisha. Come on.
But then
Don't
I
be
put it back on my mouth. So that's
You guys started sterilization. You hurt our feelings, and now we're fighting back in our own way. We're making jokes to feel. We just discussed this at funerals and stuff, right? The
Yes,
nervous
yes, this
energy
is-
that we've got now.
I
So
can
we are
sense this is the
removing
coping
it.
This is
mechanism.
peak like funeral conversation. Yes, exactly.
It is. It is.
I argue
Yes.
this all the time. If the intent is not to insult someone, why do? And by the way, the people who feel insulted are never the family. It's some bystander, faraway relative who's like giving you the dirty looks because you're giggling or talking or whatever. I'm like, what's with that? You know, you don't even care who died deep down. What does it matter?
That's
After
true,
that, it's a
actually. I forgot
formality.
about that part. Yeah.
Most people are
I
coming
think
for
we
love.
all have these uncles, further distant kind of uncle cousins who always act like some patriarch figure for no reason at these kind of events, and then look down on the younger people or look down on whoever who's slightly animated.
Yeah.
We
I
don't
already
know
told
how-
Nisha at my funeral, she's gonna have to just turn up and make all of the worst possible jokes, the things that I've ever hidden from my parents in particular. Just let it out there. There's no point. They
Oh,
can't argue
yeah.
with me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm making a
let's
list
just do
already.
it.
I have a book.
There is a
And will
book,
you be-
I'm sure.
Will you be playing the Yuki?
Of
Oh,
course.
that's a great idea. I'm going to put
Yeah.
it
You
all
should
into
begin-
song. Yes.
Yeah, you should
That's
begin with a nice
brilliant.
song right in the beginning. And it should not be a mournful song. It should have like a disco flavor to it or something.
Definitely.
Ragavi was
You
up.
can't play a sad song on the ukulele. It's just so happy
Oh, you-
all the time.
Is that true?
That's true. Yeah, every
Yeah.
chord that you play, even if you play like a minor chord, it's like la. So
So it's like a
There's
guitar
no,
on
like-
ganja. Have you got
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Always, yeah, it's a happy, relaxed, chillaxed. Okay, I'm exciting the young man in my room. I said the word ganja and he's suddenly woken up after sleeping through the podcast. Now he's up. Like, our ears are here. Kostov, control yourself. This is a conversation. This is not procurement. And we're against it until the government says, okay, that it's allowed or whatever. Until then, we are with the law. Right?
You know where
ladies?
it's allowed now? I mean, well, it's going to be, I hope
Well,
soon.
so many
Himachal
places,
Pradesh.
Western Europe.
No,
No, by
Himachal
law.
Pradesh is looking
By
into,
law.
yeah, they're looking, not for recreational use, they're looking into legalization of marijuana for scientific and medical use, which is the first step,
And-
right?
And
Yeah,
Himachal is
Y'all
where all
know
the
that?
science of India takes place. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the greatest scientists, I mean, ISRO, everything, they all come. NASA is filled with Himachal
Hey,
guys who
Goa's talking
walk
about
out and,
it. There are
discover
places.
stars.
It's all in the mountains. The
Oh,
mountains are where you find yourself.
they-
So yeah.
I mean, really,
Yes.
who would argue that point? Yeah, I'm sure the next flight, who's left after Bill Gates now on the next flight from Himachal, straight up.
But you know what? If
There
there's
is
any
20
state
minutes.
that had to like figure out quality control for marijuana, it is the state where it freely grows across everything. Might as well. I mean, the
Well,
government
look at it this
hasn't
way.
cared so far. So
Half of the US it's legal. Lots of Western
yeah,
Europe, Scandinavian countries, blah blah. I mean, I went to Holland for something a couple of years back. It's ridiculous. I mean, nobody
yeah, oh
looks
yeah,
twice. It's just normal. The normalcy of the whole thing is like a little scary for you when
it
people are so
is.
worried, like Kostub. But who doesn't do all this? He just asked me to say
No, but you
off
know
the
what the best
record.
part is? In most European countries, the fact is you can obviously like be high on the streets or whatever. But somebody once told me that they're able to do that so carefully and uncaringly is because everybody follows traffic rules. So if you're going to be crossing a road or something, you never have to be
You
worried
had
or
to take a shot
paranoid
at
or
Indians.
tense.
She had
Yeah,
to
so
take a shot at the Desi
I'm
culture.
sorry.
Basically, we are junglis. So we don't deserve. I
I
interpret
think
exactly what Ragavi is trying to say here. As long as you're a normal civilized society, you can do drugs, but you cannot do it when you're a bunch of junglis. Well,
No, I'm saying if you're a normal civilized society, you recognize a lot of the medicinal scientific benefits of certain kinds of drugs,
as
and
a
you're
reformed
able to.
alcoholic, let me tell you, it is much safer than
Oh,
alcohol. 100%. I can guarantee you that
yeah,
in
you
writing.
believe that?
I 100% tell you. There's no question. Alcohol is much more
Ragavi.
dangerous. Alcohol is a depressant. What happens at the end of the day is after
It
getting
is
high,
a
you
yeah.
can go down and you misbehave. And I have misbehaved. And it's not just with the
Oh,
ladies. Yeah. And I don't mean with the men. What I mean is other bad things, like obnoxious behavior. Not
yeah, I get
just
it.
chasing ladies. You
I know
get
what
it,
you
she
mean.
says.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
think
we're
the
looking at
most
it in
fun
India.
thing
So
is like, when you're done like bar hopping or whatever, and you step out at like everything is shut, especially in Bangalore, everything is shut at 12. And for sure, you will find some argument outside of the bar. You can just like watch
oh
that for
god,
entertainment for a bit and then go home.
yeah.
That was
And
the
it's
early
Oh, there
always
must
Netflix.
have been Liverpool
That was
where
early
this
yes.
happened.
Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere outside Cubbon Park. For
Oh
no
god,
reason.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's exhausting.
But your
There's this.
rickshaw drivers are the worst, huh? May I just say? They're so
Oh,
aggressive, yeah. I've
yeah.
seen 5 or 7 fights in my limited time in Bangalore. I mean, just almost every time. They just cut somebody, the next thing you know, people are coming to blows. Bangalore's a very hot-headed
Yeah.
city of late, huh? What are you gonna do about
Of
it?
late. No, I mean, I
Of
think we're
late.
going through some
It
tough times. Our roads are not the best right now. Drainage overall has been difficult. It's a
There's
surprise
too
every year
many
that the monsoon
people.
is coming.
I'll just
Yeah.
say, when we started in MTV in 1996, Bangalore,
Mhm.
Delhi was the two cities we were always in, and I've seen the change from cosmopolitan Bangalore to less cosmopolitan Bangalore, to also the fact that all kinds of things happen on the streets which didn't happen before. Won't get into details, and so there's
Oh.
definitely a feeling which is a little sad, because there's one
Mhm.
side of Bangalore which is the most cosmopolitan side of India. Okay,
Yeah.
Silvery,
Yeah.
best place to perform as a stand-up, best place. You go to the right places. I mean, you'll never get that kind of feedback. They laugh at everything. They understand everything. Very encouraging. But then there's the other side of Bangalore, which the Ram Sene and others propagated, where Valentine's Day should be banned and waste of time events like that. And
Oh.
that started growing, and that was a bit scary. Solemn
Yeah, I think, I
quiet
mean,
in
this is
the
not specific to
podcast.
Bangalore, as women also sometimes there are, I mean, and I'm not saying this specifically like target anyone or any group or anything. There are times when we are genuinely just worried about going out somewhere,
Which
like
you
it's got
weren't.
nothing to do. Yeah,
Which you
which we
weren't in
weren't. And I
1990,
feel like
20 years ago.
we
That's
weren't
what.
in 2012. Like,
13,
That's
yeah.
because you're so
yeah, I
young.
feel.
You can't go back 20 years, but I can. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
there's
that's
somebody who
terrible.
wants
The
to.
same thing of Mumbai. Girls, the same thing of Mumbai. The
Oh,
cats come.
really? Yeah, he's making an appearance. Do you want me to just bring
Please
him
bring him.
over?
Yeah, of
Yes,
course.
please.
The show will now have some credibility. We have a ginger cat, a cat from Scotland, apparently.
No, he's from
Isn't
the street.
Zuko.
And they
but
pretend like
Oh, hey.
Ginger is red,
Hi,
right?
Zuko.
He is ginger.
Just
What's his name?
His name is Zuko. He's named after the
Zuko.
Avatar: The Last
character from
Airbender.
Avatar: The
Yes.
Last Airbender. That's
Yes, of
correct.
course.
Avatar,
Yeah.
my favorite film ever.
Not that one.
Oh,
God, not that one. Not that
That's
one.
the wrong Avatar. But
Which
don't
one
watch
is
the
it
Last
called?
Airbender movie. Just saying, that's a
Oh,
terrible
okay,
movie.
that's
That's
what
Manoj
you told me.
Shyamalan,
That's the worst.
the greatest.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one.
the
Dev
worst movie
Patel
ever made,
as
man. What a
Zuko.
terrible
Hey,
job.
Manoj Shyamalan is like the Ram Gopal Verma of that side, because there are No, there are 2, 3 really good films, and then it goes wrong.
And then it goes back normal. I liked Split.
Sixth
Split is a
Sense was
good
good.
movie.
Unbreakable
Yeah,
was
yeah.
good.
Mm.
There are a couple of decent movies. I mean, I was at the edge of my. Oh, but then marijuana. He started, doing stuff, crossing the road, Indian in America. Hey, stop the car.
no.
Changing into marijuana night Shyamalan.
See, how do you know it's an Indian drinking? How do you know it's an Indian drinking in Europe? Because guys peeing on the road. This is, it's one of our people. He forgot he's not in Gurgaon. Boom.
Oh no.
That's unfair. I mean, I like Paris is not that.
Oh
Yeah.
God, Paris smells like pee all the time.
But they blame
That's
the
true.
immigrants, huh? And yeah, it does. I took my wife there for a honeymoon. She nearly didn't come back. I mean, she was like, "This is great." I wish that had worked out that way, but now we're still married. Should we do AMAs?
Yes, let's get to the AMS.
Man, how
Oh,
much you
sure,
guys
yeah.
talk? It's nearly 11 o'clock.
Sorry.
Okay, Talk too much. Too much.
That's why we
Talking
decided to do
for-
the podcast. We talk too much.
Yeah, we needed an outlet for all
You all
this
need
nervous
separate
energy.
podcasts because you'll talk so much that you can't fit anything to say.
All
Sorry.
right. For AMS, the first one comes in from Sick Trick. He says, "What are your views on the statistics that say their true crime audience is overwhelmingly female?" I've heard this. Like, women are a lot more interested in listening to true crime podcasts. This is.
I don't think that's true.
I actually don't think
it's very
that's
sexist.
true either.
Really? I think it
I've
is.
read this.
Yeah.
I've read this.
So
I'm sure
I hear
can
a lot of women talk about it generally, like they promote it and they're like, I really enjoy this, blah, blah, blah. But I think the idea of like this morbid fascination with death and crime is true across the board. I think we all really enjoy that. Is
But
this
I
something that
don't believe, like, sure, that's there. But I like this. There is something that I read sometime back that, a lot of women listen to true crime podcasts because they want to know, like, what are the things that can happen to them and how they can be careful.
Oh.
That's one thing. That's one, like, a lot of true crime podcasts talk about that as well. Plus, also, there is a weird fascination for some of these criminals, especially men, who are good looking. I don't know, like the
yeah.
Ted Bundy
God, we're going to go back
fascination.
to
Yeah.
Silvery. What did we discuss? Those guys we were discussing, all those terrible serial killers who become like
Yeah.
rock stars. What's the
Yeah.
guy's
We do.
Spanish
Night,
name?
Night Stalker, and Sons of Sam.
Night
Son of Sam.
Stalker, Richard Ramirez.
Ramirez,
I mean,
yeah.
these women sending him
Yeah.
underwear, and I mean, he's not Elvis.
Yeah,
I mean, God, jeez.
exactly.
these people are getting
It is-
married
it is
after they
weird.
can get convicted and go to jail. They're getting married in jail. So that's just
Charles
how.
Sobraj also, by the way.
Which is so
Yes.
weird. Like, I mean, that's the standard for men. You could go to jail, you can murder people, you will still get married.
But in your particular show, it could have a strong female audience because there's a female premise to it. So I can
There
accept
is.
that to some extent.
That we
uh,
accept, yeah. We likely will.
Maybe the wives are thinking, why didn't I do this? So they sort of
Again,
again,
all of this is informational. We're just telling you stuff that's already in the public domain. Do with it what
Yeah.
you will.
fair enough. But
Indian
this is
sources-
banter. This is not research. This is banter. So banter has to be taken up for what it is. It's like barroom.
That is
gossip.
true.
You can't
Context.
Hold you. Yeah, you're the only person with a big degree here, right? With your double LLBs, right? I'm sorry, Nisha. I forgot you're a PR media magnet, superstar in your own right.
It's funny that you mentioned barroom conversations because this podcast, the idea came literally from like a barroom conversation that we had. Just tons of mulled wine and a lot of food, and we were just like, we should do a podcast. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's where great ideas come from.
But that's what
you know
guys
what?
like Joe.
This guy I was
Sorry,
dating at the time, I told him about the fact that Nisha and I knew about this.
Name and picture. Name and picture.
No, of course not. We're not dating anymore, so it's not even relevant. But this, I told him like because he knows of Nisha, so we were like, hey, we're thinking about this, whatever. And he sent me a meme, which essentially said, "Wow, what a big cliche to women with like privileged backgrounds on a podcast about true crime." And yeah, we broke up 2 months later, so it just seems fair. But yeah,
complex is that? That
I
you
don't know,
come from
that's
a
the tone
position
he
in
had.
society which disallows you from having a podcast on something else. I mean,
that's the
now
tone
with-
he had. Yeah.
as we deal with casteism and communalism, now the new thing is classism, and I mean, there's no
course.
end, right? To divide. It's unbelievable.
No, there isn't. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree that there will be like even when we look at later episodes, we definitely want to do an episode on Fulan Devi, for example. We know caste plays a huge role there. We know, like, I mean, those are not things that we're unaware of. We just want to approach it in a way that clearly calls out, hey, we're aware of this. These are the issues that we're looking at. We want to add some nuance to it. So we're aware of this stuff. It's not like it's going over our heads
So,
or something. So,
Indian
yeah.
female politicians would be criminals or achievers? How does Where do we put them?
Depends on how much we fangirl over them.
It also
Power?
depends on the
Is it
amount of
aphrodisiac?
public source information. So
Yeah.
But Nisha, I want to get back to who the guy was for a second because I'm an investigative reporter by nature. Me and Silvery, you've read our work, and we always get to the heart of the matter. So, who's the guy, and what does he do?
we'll tell you later.
Now,
Off
everybody, I
camera.
hope everybody writes into you guys on the chat saying, "Ragavi, who's the guy? Who's the guy? Who's the guy?"
No, there's no point.
He's the catalyst.
so
He's the catalyst in the formation because by
He's
making that
definitely
ridiculous
not.
statement, no, he is.
No, he's not.
It's like
Nisha
a
and I
guy
paid
who
for our own
he
wine that night
motivates
when we
you,
got
and then you
drunk.
become that super
It's
achiever.
true.
No. I'm putting in. He has
Of
to get
course.
credit.
Oh God, that
At
was
least in equity.
listen. We
Are you
failed
really
the best
taking our
test
female
yesterday.
podcast, yeah, and saying that it was done by a man? Really? Is that what you're saying,
I'm
Cyrus?
saying
I
that
feel
he
like
was.
that's anti-feminist.
It's not anti-feminist. I'm saying that in his own way, he woke up. He poked the bear. Okay, this is a terrible phrase to use for a pretty young girl like Ragavi, but he poked the bear, and the bear responded with the other bear. Again, apologize, Nisha. but it's just
This metaphor
phraseology.
really went
Yeah.
off the rail side.
Yeah, okay. But
Actually,
look
that's
at
not true because I think we were like knee deep in research already when we started talking
Yeah.
talking about this. So
Hey,
All
you know
we
what
did-
he
why am I
means?
supporting him
Let me-
anyway? Okay, you're
I
right.
mean,
Exactly.
we
He
dumped-
means
Yes.
nothing
dumped
with the
him.
broader sense of
Yeah.
things.
You
Yeah.
dumped him, Ragavi.
Yes, I had to. He wasn't
had to?
Of
funny.
course, you had to.
He wasn't particularly funny. That's a huge marker for me in terms of like,
Nobody's funny after 3 dates. What are you saying?
Hey.
You're gonna have to circulate a lot here. Oof, ouch. What do you think? Seinfeld keeps the missus up all night? Let me tell you about this guy. No. 3 dates. And then the wife is like that. I don't want to hear another one. Yeah. Okay, can we squeeze a couple
Let's go.
more? What is the time?
Yeah, a couple more. There are tons of questions. A couple more at least. This
sure.
one comes from Prithvi. She says, question for Ragavi. What is your reading on criminal Indrani Mukherjee? She was
Ah,
convicted for killing her
Peter
daughter.
Mukherjee.
You have to wait for the rest of the
Stay
season to find
tuned.
out.
Oh, wow.
You've already done that
Nice.
episode?
No, we haven't recorded
Not
it
yet.
yet, but we have a surprise.
She tried to kill herself during lockdown.
Yeah, we read that too. I don't know. I haven't. I've seen
Still a
sources saying
murderer,
that,
huh?
but I don't know. Guys, alleged. There's other stuff that's not so much
Still a murderer.
alleged, but we are.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about her. But there's a little surprise involved. So
Yes,
please
yes.
stay tuned.
Wait. It's going to be many episodes because there's a lot of things that we can cover about her.
Yeah.
Good to
So
know
what
there's
is
so
your
many female
reading?
criminals.
Sorry.
That came out wrong. I said good to know there's so many female criminals, but I realized it just
There
came
are
out wrong.
There
It's
are
the wrong
loads
thought.
of them. The
what I
problem
meant
is,
to say was,
like
yeah.
Nisha said, a lot, like actually what we talked about, a lot of them are just like whenever you bring them up on the news, there's always a comparison. Like it's just like, oh, this woman did this. This other guy also did it, so it's not that big a deal. Like it always starts like that, which is like,
there
no,
a
it's a
female?
big deal.
Is there a female Ornob?
Female or knob? Hey.
Let the search
In
begin.
the
Find
US,
out.
I think. But you know what? I looked this up. That's a good question.
Who in the US? On
What's her name? That one on Fox News.
Fox.
Yeah, I'm
I
forgetting her
knew
name.
you would
The one
say
with
Yeah,
the
she's
face-
more
Fox
catty.
News. Fox News.
She's more catty,
the one with
like,
that face that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to just
Yeah. She's got
slap.
I love racism written all over her.
Yeah.
You get that
On a
feeling.
post-it.
Yeah.
You mean, yeah,
Racism
it's-
hooray.
welcome to separation of peoples. Yeah. How can we look at
Disgusting. But yeah,
us?
sorry.
We're as bad
What
as them
my-
when we talk like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but sorry, what my reading of her would be, Indrani Mukherjee is just, she acts really guilty for someone who says she's not guilty. That's all. Like, she does all the dumbest things. I feel like she should just get a PR team and just stop talking for a while. That might be very helpful for her. But no, we don't know
You know,
yet, right? We don't know if she's
my-
guilty yet. We
My
don't know
friend
anything.
Kunal,
You
you
don't
girls may
know.
not know, but Sylvie knows my pal Kunal who works with me. He's danced with her. Like we went to a party.
Dance?
Because they were very much in the early 2000s. They were very much the star couple. Attending all these page 3 parties and all that. So they were
Oh.
Peter Mukherjee and her, and she was a dancer. She liked to dance. Like how Indian men can't dance, right? Indian men,
Yep,
their
yep.
dancing is like this and all that nonsense. My friend was raised in Mazgaon Dock,
That's
so
it.
he knows how to dance. Very Anglo-Indian culture where they learned how to dance properly. Foxtrot and this and that, and whatever the modern dances are, but proper dancing.
Oh.
So that was his one strong point. So, and she also comes from a background where she knows with Assam and Calcutta and all where they learn how to dance. So they were dancing and people were watching them. They danced nicely together. So ever since this happened, we told them, you're the closest you got to fame in a sense, because
I think that's what people are not able to digest, right? I think the fact
Very
that
normal
there
person.
are people like that who are so but then there's suddenly all this news now about things that she may have done. So that fall
so
from grace
scary.
is what people are thinking. Yeah.
You're exactly right. If you actually know someone and then all this happens, it's like ridiculous, because obviously you
Yes.
didn't know them, but they seem so normal, at least mostly at parties and events and things, but
Yeah.
really normal, like nothing, like the way we are right now. We all seem okay, and we're hanging out fine, and then I find out later that Nisha's got this dead body in the cupboard of your ex-boyfriend. But why did she
But
kill?
I told
Wait, wait till the end of the
He was
season,
mean.
Cyrus. Wait till the rest of the season.
yes.
Yes,
Or the
yes, yes.
second
Be an-
season.
be an
They keep
episode of
the
just
couple
about
is the
me.
end of the first
Yeah,
season.
every time.
We have a friend who constantly says, the way you talk about these women, I'm really worried that one day you have to cover yourself on the podcast. I was like, that'll be a
But
whole
that-
season of
that could
material.
slip,
I'm so excited.
Where you become an actual fan and copycat in a
Yeah.
sense. Oh God, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Like you can be like,
We don't do
they
that.
say,
We totally don't do
they
that.
say, yeah, they can be like, they say I killed my neighbor, but did I really? Let's find out.
Did
And
I?
then the
Wink,
director
wink.
is just-
Yeah, really,
Question
wink,
mark.
wink.
yeah.
The promo's got to be as cheesy as
I'll-
possible.
I'll put a song for it as well.
That's the book we're writing, guys. Did I kill my neighbor? ... Are you sure? Question mark. ... Find out more if you read the book.
Yeah.
Please buy it.
This sounds like one of those Durjoy Datta book. That's
That's
exactly
exactly
what
how
those
it
The
is.
sequel is,
Some-
if you met my neighbor, you'd have killed him too. Something like that.
Yeah,
like,
like that only.
Sounds like OJ's If I Did It wala book.
I was just thinking that.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now it just says I did it with a tiny if somewhere.
Yeah, it's like
So-
if, right? Yeah, that's what.
In his defense, if he's not done it, then why should his behavior be questioned? What difference does it make? Why should he show more remorse or less remorse or whatever?
No,
A lot of
absolutely.
people
That-
talk about
if it's
body
his
he
language.
also
Absolutely.
has I think OJ also had that same issue of like brain
Indrani.
into mouth speaking. Indrani not as bad, to be honest, because somebody's advising her really well. Good for her. But OJ had this issue where he would just keep talking about it, and he would just keep
Yeah.
coming up and be like, I obviously didn't kill her. I'm going to find the real killer now. And he made a really big deal out of something that everybody had started forgetting about.
Yes.
And then he goes and
That's
gets
entirely
arrested
on
for
him.
stealing his own memorabilia. I mean,
Yeah, that's
Polly-
so stupid.
Yeah.
Can you think of the level of narcissism where he's like,
Nas-
somebody bought it from me and yet I
I
will
know.
steal it back. Just
what is really unbelievable is he was the toast of the country. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
even for my generation before that, but he was like the biggest sports star. It's like Virat Kohli or something
Yeah.
today. I mean, just doesn't make any. Again, you can't talk about fall from grace. Why?
yeah.
Also hilarious
still-
in the Naked Gun movies. He was hilarious
Lovely in the Naked Gun movie. I don't think
Oh,
he was-
yeah, that's
he
true.
was, yeah. That's the thing. There are
Fabulous.
some people that I feel like parents should just look at your kids and be at a really young age. You should tell them to shut up. Just shut up, because they've not been told to shut up as kids. That's so
Shut
evident.
the F up, because they don't
Yes.
understand otherwise. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Shut the,
It-
because
shut the-
your parents don't tell you. Listen, your opinions sometimes don't mean anything. Don't think like this. Don't do that. They don't listen. In their heads, they're just like, I'm better than everyone. So
That's why I like my mother. My mother's like exactly the way you want the parents to be. Till today, when I come home and try to tell her something smart, she always replies with something domestic, like put the geyser off, or the fan is on, and just brings you down to earth. You don't know where to go because you're back in the flat as a failure with no contribution to make.
my
Keeps
my
you
mom also
grounded and
really roots
humble.
me that way.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Now we all
Actually,
see how
Nisha
we're
really
praising
roots
our
me that
parents. Nisha's your mother.
No,
What
Nisha
dynamic
really
is this?
grounds me sometimes because I
Reached the end
remember
of the
like
show and this is a revelation.
no, she really tells me like just get a hold of yourself, just get your act
Who's the more
together.
impulsive? Who's the more impulsive out of the two of you?
Kiss
You.
me.
So you're prone to the foot in the mouth is more you.
It is me. Nisha is more. She's actually she thinks very quickly.
She's a
I think.
philosopher. Huh.
No,
No, I have my
No.
bouts of recklessness, and then most of the other time I'm just like, okay, we'll save up. Like I will
But I
just
feel like
randomly
your
get my hair
recklessness-
blue and
yeah, that's stuff that
Yeah.
she can control really well. The
pierce
kind
my
of stuff
ears
I
without
do.
telling my parents.
Yeah,
That kind
which
of
is
stuff.
fine.
And what
Stuff
is the
I do,
result of
I
that?
need someone. Sorry.
Oh, nothing. They'd already given up on me, so it was fine.
But what they didn't say anything.
No, they were just like, okay, well, Your hair was blue, and
Oh, so then
What
you're
can you
doing
do?
psychological techniques here.
yes,
I mean, once you colored your hair blue, what's the next step? I mean, where are they going to go? This is the years of
yeah,
badgering the
exactly.
parents. Now, I think you just come out of the blue with that. Literally, no pun. Oops. Okay, Sylvie's gone
No,
to
but
sleep like all Indian males. He
No.
can't take it anymore.
yeah, I
He's
was
dying. He's
wondering if
got
he just
another
froze
recording.
or.
No, because you're not talking too much. We're supposed to end at 11. I've got Costa
Oh,
waiting
no.
to shoot. You just won't stop. It's criminal.
Okay, we can
Put
we can
yourself in the next
stop.
episode.
No,
Yeah,
we have a couple of more. Sorry. We have a
Oh,
couple of
no.
more
Oh,
that we
quick,
should get to.
quick.
Okay.
Let Costa stop.
Similar to Indrani Mukherjee, another one, Kashin Shetty wants your opinion on, do you have any theories about who was the real person behind the Stoneman murders back in the 80s? One of the biggest
Ah.
unsolved mysteries of our
Oh
times.
no, actually, I've looked into this.
Yeah,
I
arrested
don't-
one guy.
They said I'm forgetting his name now.
Raghav,
but he wasn't
Raghav.
prosecuted. Nothing.
Very common name,
Yeah,
like Raghav
there
or
was
something.
there was a movie about this also.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. It feels like one of those really random series of events that I
Used to
just don't
live
have
on the
any answers.
platforms and all that. I am trying to remember. It's then back. I mean, I don't know if it's true because sometimes they want to
Yeah.
scapegoat and they have to end this. And this again is across the world. It's not just in India where you just need to stop people going through panic and anxiety, and so they pin it on someone. That's really sad, actually.
I guess so. That really does what it's. It wasn't.
I
Nisha,
wouldn't
wasn't
mind
there like a
fame
series
that,
of
but-
Monkey Man? I'm forgetting, or is that not the same as
Oh.
this? I'm forgetting.
No, it's
I think
different.
that was
Monkey
different.
Man was a myth. It wasn't a murderer.
Oh, it
It
was
was
a
like a
myth.
guy
Is
myth.
it?
He used to
A lot
bash
of people
the,
spoke
bash
about
the
it
head of the
very-
People
Yeah.
sleeping on the footpath and all. Yeah.
footpath.
That's
Yeah.
the one I
right.
heard.
Oh, right.
And there were like two.
And remember-
One I think was in Bombay, and one there was like another
sorry, one was
copycat
in-
killer somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
sorry.
a
I'm sorry.
copycat killer
I'm
also. Yeah.
forgetting.
And keep in mind,
That's-
Amitabh Bachchan used to sleep on the footpath. Well, once or something.
Gasp! Not in the
He's
80s.
safe.
By then he
He's
was pretty
safe.
famous.
Yeah,
He was still in the
That's
80s.
true. That's
Who
true.
was sleeping?
By then he owned the footpath. I'm so sorry.
That's-
Yeah.
Which celebrity? Let's find out which celebrity was on the footpath in the 80s, and then we can extrapolate from there.
Whoever's fallen from grace is now on the footpath. I won't take names, but there's a poor guy who's caught in a pornographic wrangle. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
true.
Oh
Yeah.
no! Who could it
You
be?
haven't heard this story.
You haven't
No,
heard this?
we
Oh,
have.
okay.
This is
We
Oh,
just,
okay.
it's
Okay.
developing.
Probably have they heard.
It's a developing
Yeah.
story, so we gotta wait it out.
Yeah. Allegedly. See, we in the news business.
allegedly.
Now we just everything allegedly. I mean,
Okay.
I say allegedly for everything. Yeah, sorry. Go fast.
Yeah, a great question to
Process
end
more.
on. Girish Patel asks, okay, firstly, a lot of people are asked where we can find Misconduct the podcast. You guys can find it on the IBM Podcast app, website, wherever you get a podcast from. So Spotify,
Everywhere.
Google Podcast, whatever you want.
Guys, this is the
Follow
first
us on
time no one has
Instagram
ever
and
come
you
on
will
our
see us.
show.
Yeah. Sorry.
No one has ever no one has ever come on our show and done this before. That talked about the other podcasts and said, like, where can we find it and all. This is huge.
Yeah,
Wow!
they listen to a
all
podcast and ask me
right.
where can I listen to a podcast.
Hey, that's awesome. Oh no, it's going to go to our heads. Oh no.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll ground you.
Thank you.
Girish Patel has asked, which is your favorite true crime series / docu series?
Mm.
Can we say serial and be like basic?
So again, a related question is another person has asked that this Bruce Wayne has asked Bruce Wayne, the best
Bruce
true
Wayne,
crime
yes.
podcast I have heard is Serial by the producers of Tal. Are there any other good podcast series that you would recommend in true crime?
Yes.
So both similar kinds.
Misconduct is a great podcast.
Misconduct is excellent.
But other third-party podcasts, Behind the Bastards is
It's
a
my
really
favorite.
good podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, Nisha really loves it too. It's basically this
Excellent.
guy, Robert Evans, who one day we hope to have on the show.
that would be
He does it
amazing.
really. He basically looks up like a lot of figures from history that have done really awful stuff, including like Elon Musk. And he talks about
Wow.
and that's a really, really good show. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
What other gender-
Sinisterhood is pretty
yes.
fun. It's also two ladies who talk about not just crime though. They also go into like horror stories, myth and stuff. Like they cover the Mothman and things like that. But it's mostly US based. I'm not sure if there's anything like in India. Oh, there's one dedicated to Jolly Joseph.
Yes.
Death,
I'm
Love,
forgetting
and
the name. It's
Cyanide.
been sitting on my list for a while. No. It's called something else. We will tell you. I'm just forgetting the name. But it's
something
dedicated
in
to Jolly
Cyanide.
Joseph.
Yeah,
Yeah. Death
It's very
lies
serious,
and
but
cyanide.
it's good.
Death lies and
Huh.
cyanide.
Silvery?
that
That's
lies
what
and
it's called.
Cyanide.
Yeah.
Isn't it a little scary? That's all they talk about is like death,
And a
murder,
lot of cyanide.
Cyanide is
cyanide.
very
we
prominent.
love
I mean,
cyanide.
when we spoke about ganja, that was like a break. I mean, literally. Oh, ouch. This has been a very strange podcast, I must tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is scary is how many people are fascinated as we are with murder at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's just
Yep.
vicarious of what it is, from the gladiator days and before, and all the cultures of the world where they show
True.
people, fighting animals or whatever and watching it. And oh God, what's wrong with humanity? It's such a terrible thing.
I think this has always been humanity's
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
It'll
do we
be
get
a
out of the
downfall.
human?
We're
I
obsessed with
wanna-
the macabre.
I want to renounce the human race. How do I do
Impossible.
that?
What you should do, Cyrus, is whenever the robots take over, just swear your allegiance to them, and move on. There's
I
nothing else you can
can't.
do.
I'm tech challenged. The robot won't work in my house.
Oh
I would have forgotten to
no.
put the battery on. I had forgotten what the power charger is. I would have used the wrong wire, or
You don't
left
have
the
an
door
internet
open. While
Or there's just
Yeah.
like power cuts and your
by
robots
the
are
way,
just like,
I live next to the
That's-
chief minister. All the power cuts happen only in our area.
Oh no.
How is
that
possible?
I don't know. I think that's their excuse for not governing. Wi-Fi nahi tha. Sorry. Couldn't govern. Sorry, COVID is still there. Sorry, a Wi-Fi problem. Otherwise, you would have solved it. No vaccine today. Wi-Fi problem. No, can't do it. Clinic closed.
No, but Nisha
Whatever it
brings up a
is.
good point. Will the robots ever conquer us if there's no electricity?
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever happen in
It's
India.
stressful.
Y'all are looking so far ahead. First, worry about China. Robots can wait.
Oh no, China's already here. I mean, it's too late, right? I don't know.
Uttarakhand, they've crossed. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Not happening.
They saw the yatras and they crossed back.
Oh no, that's awful.
I mean, they heard about COVID. They know you can't congregate. It's only us. It's only us who are like, we can't congregate, but we can for this. And millions of us. So 6 of us can't gather in the lane and chat, where the police come and stop us. But there, out there, you can have lakhs having a bath together, sharing what, my friend? We're not paying attention.
Oh, disgusting.
Mask the
okay.
abdomen
All-
something.
You're not
Forgot
paying
what he
attention.
said.
He's not paying attention. He's the bloody producer.
Yeah.
This is typical. This is how the governance is done. The guy in charge is of no use most of the time. Okay, speaking of no use, can I carry on now with my life, girls? Is that okay?
Yes, please. Thank you so much for your
It's been great
time.
fun. Oh, thank you for your time and your crime.
Hey,
Wow.
right. And it rhymed. That also rhymed.
And it
Everything
rhymed.
rhymes.
So when you need
I have to pick up the uke
you need a Garfunkel to your Simon, girls call me, huh? Yeah.
No,
Sorry,
she's
my
the
my
oats.
references are old. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's fine. She's like the oats hall. He's the oats to my hall. That's actually a little more
Ooh,
cute. That's cuter.
wow.
Yeah.
That's cuter, is it? All right.
It is.
I was
It is.
I was worried to go with some political reference. There are a few twosomes around, so be careful.
That's not us. That's not what we do.
Not-
What's the more
not
recent
yet.
thing you can say? No, it's fine. She's the oats to
No.
my hall. It's chill.
You can't even
I'm
say Jeff Bezos to Mrs. Bezos because they aren't
No, you
together.
can't.
Jeff
Ouch.
Bezos to
Unfortunate.
his spaceship.
She's the
Yeah.
Mrs. Bezos to the guy she eventually married now, who's a school teacher, and that's a very wholesome relationship. Good for
yeah.
her.
But that guy is from like a normal middle class sort of background, right?
He's very chill. He's like a teacher or something.
And his income is like just a normal income. It's nothing
He
special.
doesn't care. He's so
What
chill.
if
does
she
it
didn't-
matter?
But if she didn't
Yeah.
inherit that 50% or whatever she's going to inherit in equity, etc., I'm just trying to think what happens to her life.
Yeah,
because
but she also gave
how can you be a
away.
normal
There was-
American after being
Yeah.
that?
That's true. That's true. I think he's got to be grounded. You got to be with the people. That's it.
It'll be huge
I don't know.
that you could do that after 20 years of being the cat's whiskers or whatever. They're married to a teacher and having a normal life, going and standing in a supermarket and making baskets and all that. Silvery, let them know how we live.
Like she'll still have some other way of getting her fruits and vegetables rather than going to a supermarket. But sure.
But you're so
Yeah,
cynical instead of seeing the
likely.
love story here that she throws everything away because this is love and it's never about the money or anything else. And nobody looks at it from that angle. We're all like, how could you? You were married to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, but she was married to Jeff Bezos.
Exactly. It's
I
understandable.
mean,
This is fine.
that's disgusting. I'm so sorry, but what the
Women are
hell?
so opinionated. Silvery won't get married now. I'm tell your mom the bad news. Today's woman is so opinionated, you don't have a chance. There's no chance for men now. No way.
That's what we do to scare men.
Oh, well.
And you've done it well.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
guys,
That's
I
all
have
you
to
wanted to
stop
achieve
this.
today. Yes, please. Yes.
Today's been fun. Please come back because we have nothing else to talk about. This is great. We had a topic actually today. Cheers.
Next time we'll put down
Bye-bye.
a list of topics. So thank you so much.
No. Don't be ambitious with me. This was great. Okay, now let me
Okay,
call my
great.
tech
Thanks so
in
much,
charge.
Cyrus.
Bye.
We had a
Thanks,
great time.
everyone.
Thank you. See you.